Jeanette, in this session, why don't we continue understanding our little tool to use? And I think this is one of the most important and valuable concepts of understanding the wheels of our car, when we call it our behavioral car. What can you tell us about the direction of our car is controlled by which wheels?
The front two wheels.
Okay. We
have total control of the way we choose to act, and we have most control over thinking. But sometimes we think that we don't have control over some of those thoughts, but it's because we're not aware of our thinking. So helping people become aware of what you're thinking and how you're choosing to act at this time. And the back two wheels is just giving you signals that you're turning in the wrong direction or the right direction. And that you're headed down an unhappy highway because you're focusing on how you feel.
Right. And the feeling is one of the back wheels.
The feeling is the back wheel.
And then I have the body, signals from our body as the other, which is also our physiology on the other back wheel.
It's kind of like those two back wheels are the signals in our life. Like a real car, you get red lights on your dash, and we do something. We take it in for a checkup. But it seems like in our lives, when we get a signal from our feeling and our body, we'll take a pill to knock out the signal. And we want people to become aware that they have control indirectly of their back wheel by changing their thinking and acting.
Let's apply this. Let's say I'm a parent of a teenager, and it's my teenager's not home, the past curfew. A couple of behaviors I could think of would be angering or worrying. So help me understand that in terms of the wheels of the car.
Well, you stop and think at the time, if your child is not home, what are some of the things you're thinking?
Are they safe?
Okay. And how are you acting at the time?
Well, I'd be pacing the floor.
Okay. And are you worried about the past, the present, or the future?
Well, in that I would be worried they're not here. Would that be the future or the past? I mean, I'm worried they're not home. They're supposed to be here right now.
And when you say they're supposed to be right now, what was the plan that you made before they left?
Well, for them to be on time.
And did you ask them before they left what might be a roadblock that would get in their way to keep them from getting there on time?
No.
If you had asked them, might that have helped them to have been more specific with their plan? And what's some other things you've been thinking you're going to say or do when they get home?
Well, possibly saying some things that I might regret, but, why didn't you call? Or,
And how would it help you to focus on the whys in the past?
No, it certainly wouldn't.
So what could you focus on that might be better than bring you closer to your child, where they would choose to make a specific plan and follow through on it?
Well, certainly I'm glad you're here. But let's continue to focus. Let's say while the teenager is still gone, help us understand a better choice than worrying.
Okay. What's some of the things that you've done
would certainly make an attempt to contact if it was, if I thought that would work, is make a phone call myself.
What else?
Well, I could focus on my child is responsible, and for some reason, it'll work out.
So what you need at that time is more information. And that's all we can ever get or give is information. And what we choose to do with that information is our choice. Why do you think children lie to you?
Because they're fearful.
And if they told you the truth, would you help them or hurt them?
Right, that's a good question to ask. And I guess the reason they would lie is they're afraid of being hurt.
So suppose when the children do get there, while you're waiting on them, you can think of all of the things you might say to them that would bring you closer in your relationship, where you can influence them or persuade them to be truthful, make a specific plan, and if they fail to get there on time, to call you or have someone else call you. If you did that, would that bring you closer or push you apart?
Absolutely bring us closer.
And would that eliminate some of your fears and stress?
For certain, next time.
And when you are stressing and anxiety, being anxious over your child, is it helping you to be healthier, more relaxed? Or what kind of signals are you getting from your body?
Yeah, I'd be getting some very bad signals.
And what would those signals be telling you? Would it be telling you to stop and give yourself a checkup to see if you were having stinking thinking?
Now, would this in any way communicate that I don't care about my child? Because I think that's what some people might say. If you're not worried, you don't care.
Well, how much you let the child know you do care when they come home?
Yeah. Well, tell them.
And how would you say that? What would you say to them?
Well, I'm concerned. I love you very much. And when you're not here on time, I'd really like to know.
And would it help you to say, I'm not interested in fault, I'm interested in solutions, so how can we solve this by talking things over and working it out? It sounds a little tedious, doesn't it?
Right.
But isn't it just a wee bit tedious, what you're doing now?
Right. If you compare the trouble.
Are you willing to change, or are you so set on changing somebody else?
Right. It's better for the parent to focus on changing themselves.
Can you make those children do anything, or can you just influence them and persuade them?
The influence and persuade, for sure.
So
That's a hard lesson to learn.
So would you kind of summarize what we just said about the front two wheels and the back two wheels, and the importance of understanding that it's a behavioral car explaining our behavior?
Right. Well, it's obvious our behavioral car always has four wheels on it. It can't just have one. I can't just think something and avoid acting or avoid a feeling or avoid a signal from my body. So it always has four wheels. And in our real cars that we drive on the road, the front wheels always control the direction. So my acting and thinking is always controlling my direction. And my body signals and my feelings give me a hint whether I'm driving on a good road or a bad road.
Okay. So if you were driving your real car and you had too much air in those back tires, or you had too little of air, what kind of ride would you be having?
It could be a bumpy ride.
bumpy ride.
Yeah.
And if your tires are getting more and more inflated, what might they do? Blow out.
Right.
So that's why we use a car
Yeah.
as an analogy in total behavior to help people understand.
Right.
Nobody drives you up the wall or drives you crazy or drives you in.
Right.
You choose to think and act in a way
Right.
that takes you in whatever direction, and it really does affect your physiology and feelings.
And I really like to finish up that last analogy that we've used. I'm only going to be disturbed if I give you the keys to my car and let you control me.
Because of the behavior I'm choosing, it gives me a lot of power over you.
Right.
If you want me home more than I want to be home, and we don't have a good relationship, I know I can push your button and start your car
Right.
in a direction that there's a lot more pain than pleasure.
And that initially can be very satisfying to try to control somebody else when they control us. Thank you for your time, Jeanette.
Anytime.